Hello. That wasn't the best. It's okay. Hi, welcome. So I don't know. Maybe I'll have like special episodes. Honestly, I feel like there's two different reasons why I should have a Patreon or something where you can tune in for behind the scenes slash what ended up on the cutting room floor, because what I just recorded, I was just extremely lost in it and unhappy with how it was going. My brain is not functioning at its best right now today. The weather is gray. I think my hormones are at that period of the month where they're not helping my brain function and think and so forth. This episode, number 3 or 3.5, this episode is going to be about 2024. I guess like sort of the vision that I want for 2024, the vision I'm excited to embark on. And really, it's not even the vision as much as figuring out what that is. Not in this episode necessarily, but just the idea of having to figure things out. I'm in my 30s, I'm in my late 30s, and I really, one of the big favorite things to watch for me, see, brain is doing it again, or still, excuse me. One of my favorite things to watch is on YouTube, vloggers, because I don't really podcast and it's kind of weird. I don't know. Vloggers that are kind of really in the life of it. They're not setting up 5-10 tips of this and how to get your, life back, or, how to start a podcast or what. No, thank you. And I'm not into anything that's very advertising. I don't want the advertising. I don't even, oh my gosh, I wanted to say too many words at the same time. I don't even read the titles, the thumbnails. I would like them to be aesthetically pleasing, not really like sticker and like very childish, which was a trend, I think, for the last year or 2 years ago. And, showing you all that's in that vlog, I don't care. For me, that doesn't matter. I do like when people have their face on the thumbnails. But besides that, I just like aesthetic, but aesthetic changes. The colors I like change. What is pleasing changes to me, etc. So, but really is once you find that person that you can tune in, and it's always kind of vibing your vibe. That sounded so hippie. But once you have that, that's what I really love, and that's what I care about. So wait, if I hold this, oh gosh, why is this wire so much wire? And I don't know, it's pulling. Is this better? I mean, you won't really hear the sound, but I was holding it. Doesn't seem to be much better. I was holding it where the wire goes in, and so I feel like it had that artifact a little bit more of my movement. Anyways, as I mentioned in the episode that may or may not be added, the cutting room floor episode 3 version, the cutting room version of episode 3, oh my gosh, speak arena. I'm still trying to get the microphone on the microphone stand that it really pretty much came with. I put it on there, but for some reason we can get the adapter off of the stand. It might not be the adapter on the stand. It might be in the microphone thing. I don't know. I need to figure it out. YouTube is going to help me at one point. I haven't gotten to it. But in the meantime, this is uncomfortable and it has the little sound artifacts. I'm sorry. But part of this episode that I wanted to do this episode is to explain also why I embarked on this podcast world. Ooh, snow. And And I guess that's also the kind of secondary theme to my year. It's a different type of theme to my year. The main theme of my year, I'll get into it actually when I talk about that. But the secondary theme, sort of, if you call it that, it's really, I want to get myself and my life back on my track. So I feel like we all have a path that feels good. You feel your best physically, mentally, emotionally. You're happiest. You're surrounded by things you like. You're in a place that you like. And not necessarily physically, spiritually, whatever that means to you, you are just happier. You are having a good time. You are having a good life, even if it's not going perfectly or if it's not going well. And part of that is like confidence, I guess. But where that stems from is like complicated. And one of the things that I was reflecting on and what that reflection gave me is this past month, I felt more like myself than in a long time. And even my boyfriend was saying the other week, last week, that my vibe was so different. And I would say I felt more like myself. I've been more like myself. I've been more playful. I've been even just with myself, not necessarily with him or with others. I have felt just better and more me. And what is the essence of that is kind of what I'm trying to figure out. And a couple of things that showed up were, one, I'm trying not to start with the most obvious one. So maybe I shouldn't. I'll start with the most obvious one. Autonomy. Autonomy does not mean I am doing everything by myself, and if no one is there, I'm okay. That's not what autonomy is, in my opinion, based on the fact that we are social creatures and we do rely and depend on others. And the point is not to be islands, and the point is not to be alone. Autonomy is not alone. Autonomy is the ability, for example, in that, to me, is one of my goals for this year for autonomy, I guess, is having a stronger body. Not just like, sorry, just one of those days. Not just like losing the weight that I gained the past year or 2 years, but really feeling strong. Like I can stand straight and I don't feel like that's a struggle, because right now it is. Like I can just be myself. Like I can dance, just plain dance, not super crazy choreography or salsa even, just dance and not feel awkward. I realize I've been dancing like how bad dancers dance, and I realize it's like it's part confidence and the lack of it that's like really seeped into all of your pores, but also it's your physical ability. I've lost a lot of balance and flexibility. So that is a big thing of feeling autonomous, and that feeling that, oh, I'm me. I'm most myself. That's like autonomy for me, is like when you're able to be yourself, the most authentic you all the time. Even when, I know different circumstances are different, right? So it's not that you're always the same you all the time, but you're authentically you in all the different ways that you are you. Does that make sense? Maybe, maybe not. So that's my journey for the year, basically. And I really wanted to share that because I love circling back to that initial branch, the trunk of the tree. That's what I love watching. I started watching YouTube with Lily Singh, honestly. Not Superwoman Lily Singh, but Lily Singh vlogs. I didn't like her videos. Again, I felt like I couldn't personally relate to them. Excuse me, I have all these hiccups now. I couldn't personally relate. I loved the premise of all of them, and they would always fall flat because they weren't what I thought of when I read those titles. And just the sense of humor and the display of it just wasn't my style. But I loved her vlogs. Why? Because I felt so inspired and energized and awake and alive and human and myself. Ironically, you might say, myself. After watching a couple of her vlogs, and I would go out into the world and, just be more me. And also just that energy infusion that I would get, and the relatability of, she was having bad days, she would have breakdowns, she would have tough moments, and just like learning healthier habits to deal with that, or not even healthier habits, but just different habits or different ways, having more tools to your toolbox to get through the day, whether it's bad, good, mediocre, whatever. And I love that. The other part is Naomi Watts on Ellen DeGeneres. I think I've mentioned this before in some vlog or something, but there was an episode when she was on Ellen DeGeneres, and she was saying that she used to, when she was young, be on the toilet and pretend while on the toilet that she would have, I don't know if she would like go to the bathroom or just sit on the toilet, but she would have interviews or pretend that she was being interviewed and on these talk shows. And that was incredibly relatable. And it's something that you never hear of, really. You hear in the video, in movies, you have the girl with like the hairbrush singing, which I never did. The hairbrush is not a microphone. If anything, I would get a marker or something, but most of the time I would have just invisible microphone. But that's kind of, the vision you have, not these like moments where maybe you're going to the bathroom and you're just imagining, because you have that time, and it's really that very personal time where you can dream, just like how people sing in the shower. But hearing that inspired me, and like it really put a note in my mind. This is so authentic me to share these like things that might be embarrassing to others, that are not meant to be embarrassing, because look at this other person, she's cool and this and that, and she did that, she's beautiful, she's an actress, she's big at that time, all these things, and she did that, and she's human, we're human. It just really highlighted how we shame just very human things, and we just feel so awkward about them when other people are doing it. And I don't know, but long story short, I've been watching Sarah's Day a lot now, and the same thing, that's the content I gravitate towards. Obviously, this is not that. I know. Right now, where my body, my mind is at, I'm not able to provide, to create vlogs and have that sustained. I am just not able to. I am trying to get to that place. So, and also I feel like I've always talked in my vlogs more than vlogging. And that's why I'm trying this podcast thing out. Is it boring? I don't know. I have no idea. I don't listen to podcasts, but people love them, and I love to talk. So I'm thinking, like at least I can try it out. And this format is kind of cooler because I can use this microphone and I like the sound of it. And it's also cooler because you can also just listen to it, and it can be longer and it can be more formatted in different ways. And I can just honestly speak about things. For example, next episode, I really want to speak about Upload, the TV show on Prime, and some other TV shows that I've been watching. I also want to continue, 90-day recaps or, reactions or whatever. So I can have different formats and so forth. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But at the end of the day, this whole thing is really just me trying to figure things out in my late 30s as if I was in my early 20s, because that's exactly the same spot I feel like I am in. I don't have a network of people so I started, for example, a relationship coaching sort of business, I guess, but it's not really a business until it's like, I feel like really, flourishing. But I started that venture, and everyone says, go and, rely so much on your network, go to your network. I'm sure you have like, a couple of people at least you can practice with, or you can help them, or them help you refer out. And the camera is taking an intermission right now. I'm sorry. This is the real life of vlogging or podcasting or doing whatever technical, when you don't have the money and you don't have the means, not just money, to have better equipment. And here we are. Just a moment of silence, I guess, for that. Anyways, so as the camera is going to rest for a little bit and cool down because Sony, I'm gonna keep talking about that little part that I already forgot what I was talking about. What was I talking about? I'm gonna actually, here's the reminder, drink some water. Let's take a sip of water because my throat has dried. It is very dry. It's been a cold Arctic winter wind situation, and not just the heat running more, but also just the cold air, and it's very dry. There's not much. There's a little snow on the ground, but it's really not about the snow. There's not much snowing going on because it's really more on the dry side. It's that cold. It's been definitely felt in my throat. So here's some water drinking. And some really bad ASMR. All right, so let's start the camera again and see if we can carry on with more serious stuff. We'll see how long this lasts. Anyways, to get sort of more on track with my notes, for some reason lately, I don't know if you've ever had this happen to you, but my left eyelid, when I close my eyes, sometimes it just kind of gets stuck together. It's so random. Thought I shared. I thought I would share. Anyways, so let me pull up my notes. All right. Couple of different things. I narrowed things down by these pillars for 2024. But I was on a roll talking about what is going on, why this podcast, why am I talking about myself on a podcast, why any of it. And what I was saying, I don't remember where I was in that saying of it, but was I'm in my late 30s. I thought by now I would basically be retired, because I feel like when you're 18 or 20, 24, you think by 40 you should retire. It makes sense. You're so old. But instead, it's not even close. And then you do see people that are really in their prime in their 30s or 40s, and they've really like narrowed in on their career, and their career is taking off because they've put in all that, starter kind of, like when you're making sourdough, you make that little starter bulb thing and let it ferment, and then off of that you build the actual dough, the actual bread. Well, I don't have that. I'm sure in a way I have that because I've done a lot of different things and I have a lot of different experiences and skills, but I also have a lot of different experiences and skills, and nothing is really narrowed down. And on top of that, I really am lost as far as where my passion lies anymore. I used to know very clearly before, and now I really don't know. I've been here one other time, I think around 25 or so. So it's not exactly new, but it does feel new. And it feels scarier because, like I said, I'm not 25. I'm 38, I think. And so that is a whole different ball game. One place that I found that out was when I was applying to jobs last year. And I figured out, I may be completely wrong, but I feel like I'm in a very bad spot with my age and the experience that they're expecting for my age. And also, if I don't have that experience, they're like, why would not go with someone that's younger? And then on top of it, my personal health situation, which is I'm really not able to be on top of things and hustle as much as a 20-year-old. And that's not just my age, that's also my, just personal health stuff. And so I feel like I don't have the same options that I used to have even 5 years ago as far as that. But even 5 years ago, that's when I really felt things changing. I was asked in an interview, basically, why am I not? Was I asked why am I not moved out? It was an interesting place to live, but why have I not stayed in a job for longer than maybe 2 years or a year? I think at that time it was like 2 years and a half I had stayed in that particular job I was interviewing out of, and I was like, well, because like I was searching. Like, not everyone knows what they want to do, and I stand by. I don't think that's a bad thing, and I don't think that when people are judging, I mean, literally Kim Kardashian, this really turned me off, hearing her talk about how she hires people that have stayed in a job for a long period of time. Let me tell you that just because that has happened in their past doesn't mean that it's going to happen in the present and future, because sometimes when you're younger, I feel like you go one way. You're either going to stay in one place and then you're going to build off of that in your mind, or you're going to like search and wander until you find that one thing and then you stick through it. Or if you're in that first example, you might think that you found it, whatever. The camera is going to shut off again. This is so frustrating. I'm going to keep talking. But you might start a whole new era of basically changing jobs all the time because you've done the 5-10 year loyalty round, but then now it's like, well, what about me? I want work-life balance. Or maybe now you're starting to have kids and you are more focused on your family, or maybe you're getting married or you have a long-time partner that is more important than selfishly focusing on making others money. So I wouldn't say that looking at someone's resume and how long they stayed in a job is really saying all that much. It can, but I don't think it does. And I think it's your job as an employer or a manager, a leader, to figure out if you like someone, and then if you do, what motivates them, what makes them be their best self. And I think the first part is not even if you like them, it's and I'm not talking about liking someone in terms of personality. I mean, that includes that. But I'm talking about like find out their best self. That is your job in an interview. Not who they've been, but their best self. And your responsibility, no matter who you are in hiring, is to bring out the best of the person that you're hiring. And so you need to know what that is, first of all. So that's like a very side branch that I didn't know I was going to embark on today. And I wish that the camera was working better. It's actually very cold in the apartment right now. Maybe that's why it's working over hard to like heat up or stay heated. I don't know. The parakeet, you've not heard her probably, but she's been going through a lot. We're back on the camera, maybe? No. Her feathers are coming off, so back to the camera. I came home yesterday. It was just a blanket of feathers. She's molting. That's the word, molting. Not the best time of the year. Maybe it is because it's cooler, so maybe it's like it feels a little better. Anyways, I'm not necessarily interested in getting hired. I'm not talking about that part just for that reason. I'm just saying this is exactly why I wanted a podcast, a place where I can just reflect on things that come across my way, whether it's in others, in me, in how others have been treated or are treating others, and how I've been treated or have treated others, or whatever. It's not even just about treatment. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a reflective, it's called Randomosities for a reason. It's a reflective space of random things because that's what I do. I love doing that. I love observing humanity and things and the world and life and thinking about it. So, but this episode specifically is about, 2024 and me and this journey. And yeah, the reason that I love when others are kind of talking about these things is why I'm embarking on it in such a more, let's call it, public way, because maybe we can help each other even through just the relatability aspect of it, through this, something like this. If you're in your late 30s and you feel, because it feels different. I've always felt like it's too late since the get-go. Like, it's too late. I'm 20. It's too late. I'm 25. It's too late for everything and everything. So if you're, especially in your late 30s, like 35 and older, you'll know that the feeling is a little different. It just is. It probably isn't biologically that way. It's more socially constructed that way. Well, I wanted to say something and I said something else. Either way it is. And so I'm here to embark on the journey with you. If you're already embarking on it, if you've already embarked on it and you're like, oh, yay, finally someone talking about this. I have to figure out a way to communicate because I'm not on social media right now. I've been kind of pushed out of social media, I just feel happier without it. I don't know, a little both. And so I'm trying to find a good way for us to actually connect, because one of the big things of this is not just me talking, but I want to actually connect with listeners, with watchers. So, and they not be only listeners and watchers. So somehow I'll have to figure something out. But, yeah, I just felt like I would love to have someone out there like this, and I would want to also be someone like that. So here we are. So 2024, how does my vision for 24 look like? Where have I been? Where am I at? And where am I going? I wish I would have it so linear for you, but I don't. And I wonder if that's more of a male way to think about things. I would say no, because I'm very much into or against like genderizing most things. I think a lot of things are not genderized biologically, but they might be genderized socially. Like, we're born with learning and absorbing these unsaid or said rules that just kind of permeate throughout everything that we do, every way that we are. Anyways, but either way, I'm just not a very linear thinker. Sometimes I can be for short periods of time, but I wouldn't keep my hopes up if you do about that. So 2024, this year, this is sort of quote unquote mantra for me. This year of 2024, I am autonomous. I am joyfully happy. I am healthy and strong. I am love and I am loved. I am financially wealthy and free. I am calm and full of energy. I feel, after I sat over and over for the last 3 weeks, I think, we're the third week of January, I've sat with thinking about the goals, the things that I wanted more in my life, the things I wanted for this year, the vision, the way that I wanted to feel, the way I wanted people to feel with me, the way that I wanted to resurrect some parts of me and what those are. These were the pillars that kind of have everything going into. Does that make sense? Maybe not. So all the more minute goals, sorry, my brain just was searching for the word. All the different minute goals lead to one of these pillars. Some of these are really kind of they could be combined, but I broke them down. I felt like that this was a great breakdown of how I wanted 2024 to be and feel for me. Autonomous has also, as of yesterday, and the camera again, hold on. All right, I was dedicated for this to be on camera. So, darn it, now I don't remember what I wanted to say. Oh, as of yesterday or today, yesterday or today, either way, doesn't matter. I made autonomy or autonomous the word of my year. For some reason, 2024 and 4 or 24, the number feels like blue or looks like blue to me, a specific blue. Kind of, and I'll show you my like little thing, kind of like this blue. If you saw on the screen, like just like blue, just blue, or like the pen cap blue, blue, just pure blue. And it's very totally different than the mood board for the year. And the mood board really is more like home mood board. And this is it. It's very terracotta-y. Sorry, it stopped working there. It's very terracotta-y and like sage mint. And my personal favorite is more purple gray instead of any other gray. And rose blush rose something, that kind of thing. But the year 2024 just keeps looking blue to me. And autonomous also looks blue, and 24, they all go together. And also autonomous, and this is a challenge for my subconscious comfort zone, autonomous, in my opinion, is not being independent, being alone, being by yourself, and only relying on yourself. So one of the things, the coaching side of things is based on attachment theory, and specifically integrated attachment style theory, whatever, by, I forget her name now. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this. Wow, Thais Gibson. And so in that, we learned that meeting your own needs does not mean literally just you doing whatever you need. Like if you need a hug, yeah, you can give yourself a hug, or you can go hug a pet, or you can ask for a hug from a loved one. Being autonomous and meeting your own needs does not mean being an island and in a vacuum. And so that's my personal challenge. And I feel like I would challenge all of you that are listening to this, because you're probably, when you hear the word autonomy, you might think, oh, that's by yourself. That's autonomous. That's like one person, right? That's only you. That's not what it's about. Did I say this in this episode, or maybe in the other one, that my boyfriend was saying my vibe is different? And I think he said, like, to clarify better, but I will also take it is better. Whether he said that or not. I'm 99% sure that he said that, though, to accompany, like, it's different. Or I have a different vibe. And it is, I am more myself. I feel more autonomous. And when I have the days that I feel autonomous, I am showing up so much better and so much more loving to him, to others, to the people that I work with or like, the customers or whatever, to myself, everything. So, and it's not exclusive, because we are affected by others. So it's on you, not just on me, how, I'm treating you or how I feel, but a lot of it is based on that, right? On how you feel, how you're showing up. So autonomy is kind of like the one word theme for the year. But really these like pillars, safety and happy and joyful and alive and thriving, is really, maybe thriving was my original word, is really what 2024 is. And switching from a getting permission space, to have income and to buy groceries because I don't have the money for it or whatever. Like switching from getting permission to having my own permission for my body, my life, etc. Things like that. So that's kind of the sort of foundation, I guess, of my vision for 2024. Now that I have you on the camera, and the camera is going to die, so while, like, battery wise, so while I have you, the temperature, hold on, I hope I can get through both of these things. But one of the things, this is not a sponsor, I don't know if these are the best, I don't know if they're good, but this is what my mom gave me, calcium and vitamin D, because my fingernails have been peeling, and she is like, this is really what made the difference for me in like about 3 to 6 months. I'm like, okay, we'll see. I think I started a little before January 1st, maybe not, I don't know. And then I started taking these again, JS Health vitamins, detox and debloat, because I had them, and I had like new bottles from that time that I had ordered them initially, and they do help feel a little better. I cannot swallow pills, especially that big, so I crunch them up, especially because they are crunchable, and I take them with this. This is actually not very keto because it does have coconut sugar or cane sugar, so it has sugar in it. So these are kind of mislabeled, but they do have less sugar, and they're really good, and they're healthy. They have the extra nuts. The other thing I wanted to do is I made for the first time these roasted chickpeas, and I wanted to try on camera to see how I like them, because sometimes my reactions are visually fun, let's say. That is the blandest thing I've ever eaten. That's like eating chalk. Yeah. That is horrible. That is horrible. There you go. Now the camera can take its rest. The only thing is I would have put garlic powder on top of them, but I didn't want my apartment to smell like garlic again. I've been fighting with people's cooking and smoking and incense and whatever weird smells people are using in their apartments for the, talk about health, not being healthy for their lungs, and just imposing it on me too, because this apartment building is just kind of built that way or something. So the last thing I wanted was my own garlic smell. I cannot take garlic smell. For some reason, I really believe now, at first I thought, man, these people are cooking with so much garlic all the time. I feel like it has to be a really bad or weird version of weed. I used to call it marijuana until the past 2 months, I think, where I'm like, this is too complicated. I feel so awkward calling it that. So I'll just join, Americans in calling it what it is. But it is the weirdest, but it smells like garlic, and it's disgusting, especially every single day, all the time. But there is a one word smell. I kind of categorize the smells to my boyfriend the other day, and he was not very impressed. Like, why I was sharing with him this, but cigarette smell, that is the worst. That is the worst, because it's really kind of, you choke on that. Incense, also very irritating, and also you kind of I choke on it. Weed, it is just gross. It's just gross. You do not want to smell it. I don't know who these people, how they like smelling it. Is it like an acquired smell? Will it get better with time? I don't know. And the other thing is, and also maybe like kind of like when you're cooking, you like smelling the cooking smell, but when you're not cooking, that's the last thing you want to smell, maybe something like that. And when you're full. And then the other one is vaping. That can be choky sometimes. But that's kind of one of the most. Actually, I feel like no. I still feel like the weed smell is the one that's really not. It just smells bad. It can be a little irritating, but not that much. I think that's the least one. I would say like vaping is over it. Like it's more irritating. But that is not. That was just a random intermission. That's the vitamin D calcium situation. All right. Back to my notes. I am not on top of the podcast game today. Talk about random. That was very random journey that I took you on. But also, like my iPad, it's running out of battery. I'm not like the camera. I mean, that's doing its thing that it normally does, but I'm not on top of it. Excuse me. So I'm sorry about that. My brain, my hiccups. All right. So the year, like I said, one of the things that I talked about is health wise, my body, I need to get these nails from peeling to healthy, strong nails. Excuse me. The other part of healthy, strong, whatever is my body, my muscles. I have a lot of pain recently. My right shoulder, actually today it's the first day in a while that it hasn't felt bad in like 2 weeks, but it was very painful. I couldn't lift it up at certain angles. And then I think it came all of a sudden too. And then just standing straight, I'm not very able to because I'm lacking a lot of those muscles being toned enough, and just the habit of it. Sorry, I needed to switch hands. The other thing is just the overall feeling of my body being my body doesn't feel that way. And not just the strength and the toning and the working out. I love working out, especially strength training, but also the flexibility. And with both of those things, weight does play an issue and a role. I've gained 15 kilograms, about 30 pounds. I typically weigh, like my average weight, even when I'm like puffy and not eating the best and not in my healthiest, that was always around 132, 135. 132 was when I was a little bit more healthy, but the 132, 135 pounds. At my healthiest eating stage, I guess, I was 132, 128. Now, when I've been my unhealthiest, either my thyroid was acting up or just now diet, sleep. Oh my gosh, sleep is the biggest issue. Sorry. That has been like 140 and above. And right now I'm at 150. Am I? 154. So even worse than I thought. And this is, for me personally, that's why I started with my personal average weight. Not yours, not anyone else's. Everyone has their own best weight for your height, your just everything. It's particular to you. But for me, that is at least at 135 is where I want to be. That's like not including actually muscle tone as well, because I was a lot more muscly toned before. And the past 2 years, 2021, 2022, really, I've gained a lot, a lot of unhealthy weight. I've been at an unhealthy underweight. Oh my gosh. I've been to I think I was weighing 121 or something. And you could look, I was not healthy. I did not look healthy. I did not feel healthy, and I wasn't healthy. Like, I didn't feel it. I wasn't, eating better. I wasn't healthy by any means. So too little weight, too much weight, neither is great. I think studies have shown that when you are underweight, you do have a longer life. But besides that, there are other things that come with being underweight. And yeah, just do the healthy thing for you. For me, like I said, my personal goal is 132, honestly, or 128, somewhere around that, because that's my healthiest. And I want to eat a lot healthier, a lot more veggies, a lot more minerals and vitamins in my food. I'm not a big take vitamin person, and also, one, because I forget, two, like, I really believe in food. We're made to eat food. So why am I not eating food and eating these pills, right? So, and I love food. I love enjoying it. And the more I enjoy my food, the less of it I eat just to stuff the empty pit inside me, So, yeah. So food wise, my personal take on it is also intermittent fasting sucks for me. And I'm not the only person that has said that. Apparently, there are some studies out there. I was watching Jay Shetty. Hold on. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's another fitness goal, is being able to switch positions without it, being like a big, not turmoil. What is the word? I don't know. I forget. But yeah, so I was watching this doctor on Jay Shetty talk about how intermittent fasting didn't work for him. Also, there might be some new studies or some things that show it's not necessarily the only way to go, or the way to go for everyone, or long term even, or something. So I will say that I gained weight when I skipped breakfast. Or when I skipped breakfast, I gained weight. Meaning, what I'm trying to say about that is, I don't know the cause and effect, but there's definitely a relationship between the two. And it also kind of makes sense. We have a metabolism, and if we're not kicking that metabolism on, and we're not keeping it on, it makes sense that when your metabolism slows down, because your body's like, oh, we're in famine, we need to, reserve our resources so we don't run out, it will slow down. It will not burn as much, and it will not, go on as much. So that's kind of my take on intermittent fasting. But it would be cool one day to do an episode for me, after really researching and giving you a lot of material as far as the effect on metabolism of intermittent fasting. The other thing is, I love intuitive eating. I always had it. I didn't know it was called a certain thing until, well, both. I always had it, and I didn't know that's the name of it until about 2021, 2020, somewhere, in this gap of 5 years or 3 years. It feels like 5. I guess now we're in year 4 since 2020. And the way that I would describe it, the example that I give with this is, after a workout, I always craved basically chicken, like, grilled chicken specifically, and vegetables like broccoli, just steamed or boiled, honestly. Like, nothing fancy. I was just craving the greens, the vegetable, and the protein. And I didn't really know, but I definitely noticed. It was very noticeable. And anything sweet, just like when I'm hungry, anything sweet makes me really nauseous. I can't even look at it, smell it, and especially ingest it. So I thought that was like really interesting. And then I learned about this intuitive eating part, and that's also when I stopped having it, honestly. Now I'm kind of coming back into it, and that's, I think, a lot to do with mood and other things. But yeah, that's something that I'm trying to kickstart again and revive. And what I've been doing has been honestly incorporating or being more mindful of eating protein and focusing on eating protein rather than counting calories, which has never really been my thing, or anything else. I'm not focusing on low fat, low sugar. I'm keeping that in the back of my mind, healthy fats at least, you know. But definitely like protein first, and feeling if that's really more satiating. And I've discovered that personally it has seemed to work, where I end up eating less after like a couple of days of eating more, or like just like it almost feels like my body has been starving, and it has literally been the opposite, because not only did I gain weight, which is like C, but I also ate a lot more calories than I've ever eaten in the past year, at least. I've eaten a lot of sweets, and I'm not a sweets person, and I would eat them just for the comfort or for the lack, or like just I was missing something. And when I started eating like avocado toast and just more protein and really packing everything, not just avocado on a toast, I'm saying like avocado toast with a lot of layers to it, and eating the protein and the vegetable part of it, and the toast itself is the Ezekiel bread, which I'm conflicted about because it's like based on the Bible or something. I don't get it, but either way, it's like sprouted grains instead of flour. Like eating those that way and those things has really helped me feel more satiated, and I needed less, and I felt happier, and I felt like I was looking forward to food again, and not just using it to stuff an empty hole inside down, and fill it up. So that's like one thing. Again, this is all me. This is my journey. This is not top 10 tips. This is what you should do. It is not that. I am sharing my personal journey. And yeah. The other part of this diet food area is I was watching, like I said, I've been watching a lot of Sarah's Day. Ironically, I'm not vegan, I'm not paleo, I'm not etc. And I'm not watching her for the way that she's training and eating necessarily, but I do like some of the healthy parts of what she shows. But it led me to this other YouTuber that I really don't like personality wise, or just like how she comes on camera. I think it's Abby Sharp. I love what she said though. I like her concept, love her concept. I think she falls short, honestly, on her own concept, because it's all about eating like that person, and she always changes it. And it's like, I think those should be two separate meals or segments. And just her sharing her thoughts, like medically or, scientifically, not medically, scientifically, and just her personal experience eating the things as they are said to be eaten by these celebrities or whoever. But she was talking about this actually in a Taylor Swift episode, as far as like what is Taylor Swift eating. And she was saying like this weekday versus weekend foods, good versus bad, is really related to eating disorders. And I had to write this quote down specifically. There's so many diet blogs that tell, this is like Taylor Swift's quote. There's so many diet blogs that tell you that that's what you should do. Meaning okay, this made sense when I was writing it in the middle of the whole video, but don't worry, I got you. I will fill in the gaps of that, because you're like, well, that didn't mean much of anything. And as Abby was also talking and complimenting this quote and soundbite and whatever, is the diet culture, like YouTubers and so forth, convincing you that every day what is really eating disorder habits are normal and celebrated instead on diet blogs, on diet videos, on vloggers, on social media, and all these things. And so I this quote combination that I had was not great, and the way that I delivered it was not great, but the thought is great, and I really want to reiterate it again. There is a lot of celebration and normalizing of unhealthy eating. For example, one of those things is I saw it in a couple that I like, which is Rachel Kirkconnell and Matt James, almost said Matt Damon, from the Bachelor world, and they work out a lot. Maybe they didn't mean to have it look this way, but I'm pretty sure there was at least the not aesthetic, but the look of this at one point of them eating so much because they work out so much. On one hand, yes, that is true. That makes sense, and not to be discredited, that you do have to, eat for how active you are. You can't eat more than you're active or less than you're active. But the mentality of it, like, oh, I ate too much, or I ate more than I should, or whatever, I'm just going to burn it in the gym later anyways, or whatever, that is an unhealthy mindset that is often promoted. Or this like weekend versus weekday foods. I've never done that. I feel like, to me, that was instant alarm bells when I heard that from this video. Like, oh my gosh, that sounds like, yeah, you're basically being good on the weekdays and being bad on the weekends, because the example was like having a skinny latte on the weekend or weekdays for Taylor Swift, and then on the weekends having like a pumpkin spice latte or something. I don't know, full fat or something. First of all, I have to make another podcast thing about this too. Full fat milk might be healthier than reduced fat or low fat or no fat or fat free, because of the process that it takes to remove the fat. I don't know if that's true, but that has floated around in my world. So just wanted to mention that, do your research, because that might be a thing. For me, the healthy foods are the ones that are closest to nature. I love meat. I feel grateful for meat. I don't overindulge in it, just like take advantage that we can eat whatever. But I believe that we're omnivores. Maybe that's what I was taught, and I believe that. Maybe we're not, but so I'm not going to be vegan. Also, I will forever get upset with any vegan that tells me that they're vegan because of morals and like, oh, animals cruelty. No, because you're eating freaking plants, and guess what? Those plants are alive. I will stand by this forever. Plants are alive, and a lot has been shown that they have their own nervous system, so they might feel pain in their own way, or period. So that's like one thing that, I've been talking for so long. I don't know. I've been talking for 1,807 bars, whatever that means. But yeah, that's one thing that I really wanted to say. And yeah, I get very upset at that. I will say this. I've tried to have my own herb plants, mint, basil. I got this beautiful basil plant. First of all, I shouldn't have them because I kill them pretty right off. I don't know why. I don't know how. I water them. I don't know. But secondly, I found it extremely hard and painful to cut the leaves off and grab a leaf because that's a freaking living being. So that's like my thing on that. Yeah, for roughly my goals for this first quarter with eating is eating more veggies, more protein, less sugar, less wheat, less dairy, just because those are not very good with me, especially the wheat and the sugar, but especially the wheat, it really bloats me. And I do have markers for gluten intolerance or celiac or something, so I want to be careful with that. So that's for me personally, but a lot more focus on more protein, more veggies. And then throughout the other portions of the year, I'll, go to the next step, whatever that is, towards health. I also started trying out this like banana as a bedtime snack. And I want to do my own sort of banana ice cream instead of like regular ice cream. And I want to try that because it has, I don't know if it has magnesium, but it definitely has potassium. And it's just more, when I think bananas, I think just calming. And it's sweet also. I keep in mind what I learned, and again, this might be or not be irrelevant anymore, but the adrenal reset diet, they were talking about how in the morning you need to eat the fats and the proteins, meats, etc., and at lunch, and then the closer you get to bedtime, you need more starches, things that are easier to break down, and more like starch calorie instead of fat calorie, because your brain uses those and can metabolize them as you're sleeping, but the other ones like your body needs as fuel, not your brain. And so digestion will be stopped of those during sleep, and you can get indigestion and some other things and adrenal mess up. So I have that in my mind too. So that's banana as a bedtime snack, and more tea. And I did add honey lately to my tea, but not herbal tea. That I still drink without sugar. So that was a lot. I will go through the other parts really quickly. That was like really in depth. I don't know how this has turned into such a long, in depth thing. I don't know who is curious about any of this. Probably no one. But I know that I would listen to stuff like this. When I was doing my vlogs, I was a fan of my own vlogs. I didn't watch them because I had already watched them in editing so much that I couldn't. But when I would watch older ones, I'm like, oh, I like that. I would watch this. So, yeah. So, whoever out there likes this stuff, here you are. And this is like an one-off odd episode that's very much about me. Most of the things are not going to be about me, I think. So, yeah. I think because I haven't really solidified this podcast. Habits. This is less of a vision for the year and more for as observation of, I used to love when I would have a day off or to myself. I used to love and get energized for going out. Like, even in the past few years with my relationship, when we've had like an off time period, or when we were, not together completely, like I would love to go to Tremont, which is a neighborhood here, or go to a restaurant or a coffee shop, or to a movie by myself, or whatever, or yeah, I don't know. And lately, this past year, again, I went through so much burnout and loneliness, which ironically made me stay home more. But it was, I got my parakeet as well. And I love her. I want to spend a lot of my off time, of my days off, with her, especially because she when I'm home has the ability to run around and get some more movement and be more free and whatever. When I'm not, I watch her sometimes from work, and she's definitely busy chewing at her toys and moving in her cage. I have, unfortunately, like a tall cage instead of a wide cage because I didn't know at that time. And this one my mom found on Marketplace and whatever, for like incredibly cheaper than what it used to be, because I don't know why. Anyways, but she moves around. It's not that she's not active in her cage during the day, but I also love, she's a social creature as well. She needs social others. And right now I've not been able to, take another parakeet, bring another parakeet into our household yet. So I want to give her the most social and free time that she has. And I love her. I love spending time with her. So now I want to stay home more. I want to be cozying up with a blanket and 2 layers of socks, one regular, one these like $2.49 merino wool socks from Marks, not a sponsor. I just found them as I was browsing, low budget gifts for Christmas and for my boyfriend. And I got myself a pair as well. And I love them. I don't think he's tried them on, but I love them. Love them. Love them. And have my parakeet like all around. And sometimes, it's coming to say hi. And I don't know, just having conversation, not conversation with her, but just like acknowledgement, between the two of us. Yeah. So I love those days. I love that time. And that's another reason why I was like thinking, how can I also do something that's productive but at home? I don't want to work at home full time. I love the job that I have right now. Let me because this is a great transition to the career side of things. Let me talk about that. I love that I'm able to go to this place that's really close to my house. It's the closest, shortest drive that I have to any workplace that I ever have been in. And I get to interact with humans. And not just humans, but different humans all the time. And some recurring. And I'm talking mainly about customers. So I work retail right now. And I went for a number of reasons. One was my unemployment was running out. I was not able to secure a job that I wanted and wanted me, more so that wanted me, honestly. Well, no, yeah, it was tough. It was a whole year of applying. I had a lot more interviews than I ever had before, but it's something always didn't work out. And I had one job in the summer that was working out, and I was like really excited about what they were doing for humanity, and it was really aligned in so many ways. But they let me go in such an unfair, weird, random, out of the blue way. So yeah, that didn't work out. And also it really kind of I realized if I want to really make the impact on this world that I want to, and not necessarily direct impact with me, but just if I want to be true to what I feel is my purpose for being here and what I can contribute to this world, for this world to be happier and better for everyone, I need to also be aligned with, my skills and what I was given and what I've earned and created and whatever. What's the word? Darn it, I can't think of the word. Like with skills, you not learn, maybe learn, develop. Yeah. If I am to be the best I can be for this world and my life and others' lives, I need to really be very intentional with where, what, how I'm working, etc. So I was right before that job, I was embarking on this venture with the um, coaching business with coaching, and it was really coming together. There was a lot that stood in my way as far as my own self-confidence, as far as having a business and being autonomous. Talk about autonomy and independence financially and in a business and having your own business. The pushback that I got from my own subconscious, that was huge. So, there's that. But there's also, and that was also kind of, I got pulled into this other job. I think part of it because of my subconscious comfort zone. I really believe in that a lot. That was a part of it. And in doing that, it really, I was like, okay, this is going to like energize me and give me more stability and security financially so I can, relax more and pour more of my energy into this venture instead of stress. That was not the case. But one thing I'm very happy with this past year is that I went through a lot of trials and tribulations and everything. And I have found a place where I have gained a lot more confidence that whatever life throws at me, I will find a way out, even if it's not the most glamorous or the way that I would imagine it or whatever. And even though I have to owe some money to some people, meaning my parents, not some people. Not my parents, my mom, my little brother that he doesn't know about. So maybe I shouldn't have said it in a podcast. But yeah, like I have a lot, and also because I have a conscience and I don't want to take others' money. Not just because I have a conscience, but it just like autonomy is really important for me. So it has really been a struggle that I have had to rely on others. It really puts a lot of bete and roate, as I poorly said it in Romanian. Let me put my Romanian hat on. Bete and roate. That was hard, and I have an accent. I need to practice my Romanian more. Yeah, it's not perfect. When it comes to others helping you financially, it will drive you crazy because you are not able to do what you would ideally do all the time or ever. There's always some like contingency, right? So a lot of different reasons. I don't like that I had to, call on help from other places, but it's also like, I don't know, overall this year, the way that it worked, I think it worked perfectly. And I think I'll leave that for another podcast. But yeah, so I'm really happy with that overall, but it was tough. It was a lot of up and down and a lot of no's, a lot of rejection, even a rejection from myself. But then November came around and I was like, I really am going out of my mind with like being stuck in this apartment. I don't have a social network. I think my like relationship, my boyfriend and I were not in a good place at that time either. But really, it was the social aspect outside of that relationship. It wasn't even the relationship that was what that like missing part was. It was missing, the missing part was like interaction with humans that are not your partner, that are not your friends, that are not your family. There is a special part, a special pillar of, the social aspect of our lives that fits there, that is also equally necessary, I think, which is these like relationships with people that are acquaintances. Some that come and go just once in your whole life. You meet them, you say hi, and then they pass that day. I mean, oh gosh, they don't pass like, the colloquial way of saying things, but they like pass on to like other people, other ventures, other stores, other places, whatever. They pass along, Wow. that was really bad. Oh my gosh, that recovery. Yeah, I don't think I recovered really. But you know what I mean, I hope. They just move along. Why was that so hard, Arena? that it has a unique special place that has like its unique beauty, and the mass of interactions that you get with that beats anything that you would get with a friend or with a partner. I had a friend who we would talk every day, all day. Great. I have my partner. We talk a lot, actually, lately, especially. And I love him. I miss him, throughout the day and whatever. But like, it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. They're the same people. You know them. It's always for me like getting to know someone else for a brief moment, even if it's like a minute. It's just joyful. I need that as much as I need these relationships in my life. So one of the big reasons that I went, because I wanted to do something like Starbucks or retail or restaurant, something where I would have interaction with customers for that social reason. Secondly, the money aspect of it was really interesting, making enough, or more than enough, ideally. But specifically in this place, I wanted to expose myself to people that have a lot of money, that spend a lot of money, and get familiar and accustomed to and used to and comfortable with people spending a lot of money. Just like that. I'm not talking about thousands of dollars. That is another department in our store. But I'm talking about like $100, $300 in one shopping trip. Boom. Spent. And I wanted to like get comfortable with also not selling. I don't want to be a salesperson, period. And I don't want people to be salespeople to me or period to anyone. But although, a couple of people like that in life is necessary as well. But I'm saying that I wanted to get comfortable with like this transaction portion that I'm not comfortable with. I feel bad. And I definitely, one of the things in my mind, one of the ways that we, work through these kind of limitations is looking for proof, excuse me, that you are, what is the limiting belief that you have? And it can be like, well, I'm unworthy or I'm not good enough, period. And in this way, it shows I'm not good enough for people to pay me money for being their coach, their relationship coach. Why? And you can give reasons, but as long as you're not tapping into the root of it, you're only going to get reasons. Consciously, you're going to see, oh, yeah, no, I am good enough. Or, oh, yeah, this works. Or, oh, yeah, people are doing it. But you're not going to believe it. You have to go to that root of belief, right? So one of the reasons that I went to this retail, and specifically this particular place, was that. Because I knew transaction value was pretty high. And it was going to definitely challenge me to sell. And I don't feel comfortable selling. Talked a lot about this last night after work with my boyfriend. But yeah, there's a good balance at one point, right? There's a good transaction. For example, I was talking with my mom about my pricing. And the fact is, the fairness of it is, yeah, I would love to charge almost nothing, if nothing even. But the reality is I put a lot of work, and it is not like 15 minutes, like 50, 50 minutes, like a lot of therapy is. This is, especially the way that we are taught / I do it, and the way that I personally have found works for me, is it requires an hour and a half, maybe an hour and 15 minutes, but like truly there's a structure to it. And there's a lot of work that I also put in, at least at this point. To me, I don't believe that if you're coaching with me, that you are doing all the work. I don't believe that. That is a load of crap to me. As my coach, it's my responsibility to do this with you. Not for you, but with you. Sorry. My throat almost never gets dry, but whew, it is definitely dried up. Anyway, so when I was looking at with my mom, she was like, "Oh, maybe you need to lower the prices," which the prices right now aren't the issue. The issue is I've not done anything. I've not been on the social media of it. I've just been under a rock. I've basically paused and closed, come back later or will be back later on the whole coaching thing. And I did that for a number of reasons. And I love that I did that. It was healthy for me to do that at this time. But as I'm coming back, she was thinking, oh, maybe like the pricing is too high. People, we're going through a very hard economic time period. But then when you look at how many people spend money on clothing that they really probably don't need. Rarely do people come into the store needing something because they really don't have it, don't have any other options. Yeah, for coaching, I'm not a therapist right now, but for therapy, that is really useful and needed and very helpful and makes you feel good and helps you. And you're not going to spend what you would spend a pair of jeans a week for that. I mean, not a week for jeans, but a week, of therapy or coaching or whatever kind of service like this. If you have it. And I also have a sliding scale, but we're not here to talk about this. Again, right now that's paused anyway. So even, that's not really, I'm not advertising for my coaching business with this. I'm just saying there was more than just I needed money because my unemployment was running out and I didn't manage to secure any other job. Because I wanted definitely a job that was able to pay for my rent and bills and food, and I didn't get it in this job, but I'm doing okay where, it's a struggle, but I'm hanging in there all right for now with a lot of help. Well, not a lot, but enough help. Unfortunately, I do need help still. But until this month is my goal to not need it, But I mean, I couldn't. I wanted to DoorDash to supplement the income, and I couldn't. I was tired. And this brings me back full circle to this whole reason for this particular episode and this podcast in general and this journey of how do I get back to being able to do all those things, to have the energy to do all those things? How in my late 30s, being lost, not having a clear career path or passion or skill set that's very marketable, in life, I feel like I'm in this space where it's transitionary. Like I have this relationship right now, and it's not in your 20s, you're on your own and you're just going for it and you're developing your path. Like I should have a path right now, and I should be focusing on, my relationship area of life. How do I figure that out? How do I do that? How do I do life right now this year? How do I do that? And it's a beautiful number, 38. It has 8 in it. I don't know. I like even numbers. And 2024, perfect. But I'm still very lost. I have these like visions and things, and they're very vague because I don't know. I don't know how to find myself again and find that energy, that ability to be awake and to do the things that I need to do to rise above the circumstances that I'm in, to have enough money to not only survive, but survive, because right now I'm barely getting there with the income that I have, but just also flourish. I want to contribute to this world. I don't want to just take income in, spit it out in the form of rent and food and bills, whatever they are, like insurance and whatever, and that's it, and then die. Like that's not what I want. I want to actually be a contributing member of this community, of the world. And right now I can't, because I'm stuck in just surviving. And we're a lot stuck like that. And so that's why I thought maybe if I share my experience, maybe you're going to tell me something that will help me get to that place where I can be a contributing member to society and not just surviving, not just be, you know, taking in oxygen and breathing out, well, carbon monoxide. So that's not a good example, but you know what I mean. Like taking in air, breathing out air, you know, so I can like breathe out more than what I'm taking in and feel good. And yeah, all of that. So that's where I guess I should stop with this episode. 2,600 bars. Sorry, 2,603 bars. And, you know, every 4, not even second, it keeps counting up. I miss vlogging. I miss being more open on social media, on this, and not feeling some sort of shame or like being affected in some way by others or by the idea of others. I used to not. I miss that. I miss liking myself, liking that I don't have it figured out, but I have something to offer, you know? And I'm not asking for anyone to have it figured out more than I do, you know? Like I said, the vlogs that I loved were people figuring it out on camera. They didn't have it figured out. I didn't want the tips and, you know, the how-tos of how to, you know, live life. I wanted to see someone just being in life like I am, and like a good friend that you're just going through life with. So that's like one thing. Anything that I'm missing, or one thing that was a lot of things. I think that's kind of it, honestly. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. I'm now browsing my stuff, my Notion calendar. I got excited and made a meal plan sort of recipe holding Notion place. I did something for something else. Also Notion. What was it? Darn it. I forget. Oh, movies. Yeah, because like Nelson was saying, sorry. Not sorry. I don't know. It was like, I just feel awkward. Like I said, I feel like in one of the past episodes, like I don't know how to refer to him. It feels awkward to say anything and both not saying anything. I don't know. Like whether calling him by his name or my relationship with him or whatever. But anyways, he was saying how like a lot of ideas of what movies to watch come up to him when we're not talking or we're not together. I'm like, well, so I made this like repository or whatever database of like put them down there, or like I guess like that's probably even harder, but just like I text things to myself or he can text me. I didn't think about that part. I made it more complicated. I love spreadsheets and things. But having this list of things that to watch, whether it's, you know, watching by ourselves or together, I think it's like cool. So yeah, but then I also have this yearly 2024 goals or whatever, and it's by quarters, and I have Artist of Life stuff, and I need to figure that one out. But yeah, right now stretching, working out at least 3 times a week or 2 times or 1 time, just doing something. But stretching for sure, eating more protein, more vegetables, more whole foods, wholesome foods. And really, I really believe that eating that makes you eat the healthy amount for you. And, you know, your body, you won't feel hungry even after you ate to the point that you're stuffed. And doing this podcast, enjoying my time in my relationships, nurturing those, having some quality time with my parakeet who is now eating. And like I said, she's molting a lot. I came home yesterday and she's just not half her feathers. That's for effect, but yeah, I'll just say it in that way. Half of her feathers were on the ground, but she was fully feathered. Because the first thing is like, oh my gosh, she just like go crazy with her own feathers, but no, they're just molting. But that was a lot of feathers. They're just falling out. It was so cute. She had one feather sticking out of her head. I guess like in closing, I should turn the camera on. We'll see. The battery might be completely dead though. I think it closed because of, not because of battery, but because of overheating. Hello. The camera is still working. So I'm sorry this was more audible podcast, which is technically what a podcast is, and less visual cast. But we'll work with what we have, and that's the whole theme for this podcast for this year. For myself, I think for a lot of us, maybe we're kind of stuck in that, oh, I need it to be perfect to do something, and we all know technically that never works that way. It's never like that, whether it's a podcast or having a child or moving or staying or whatever it is. So yeah, I am going to go now. Thank you for spending this long time with me. This is probably the longest podcast. Oh my gosh, it's like 2 hours long or something. No, it's like an hour and a half, I think. I don't know. But yeah, it's a long podcast. I wasn't even going to record today because I really was tired. I wanted to just spend a lot of time on Notion and all this stuff, but I did, and I'm glad. And I just moved the little table thing with my foot. I think the next step is getting the courage to release this and also doing a better job next time. I do have something for next time that I wanted to say, and so the camera might still turn off by this time, but stay tuned. Next episode, I do want to talk about what I have been watching on Netflix, on Prime, and on YouTube, and YouTube TV on cable. 90 Day Fiancé The Single Life, 90 Day Fiancé Diaries. There's not much to say with that, honestly. Real Housewives of Potomac, Beverly Hills, and Miami. And then stay tuned on what I was going to kind of say what I've been watching, but maybe not. I'll just keep you surprised. But Halo is part of that, and Upload. And I guess now, well, no, I'll keep the rest to myself. But I am diversifying again what I watch. I used to love watching a lot of diverse things, but now for the past years, I stuck with like comedy or reality TV stuff that I didn't need to think or feel too much. Or like if any feelings, it would be something positive and, happy, playful, humorous. But I have thoughts. I have thoughts about Upload. I have thoughts about a lot of things. Battery's exhausted. So I'm going to go. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful evening, morning, night, wherever you are. I'm sorry that we can say goodbye visually. I will learn for the next time. This was a very long one, and I had everything prepared, but not everything completely. And as always, it is very awkward to just stop and end after so much. It's not like I don't talk. I mean, I talk so much now between work and my relationship, my friendships, and this, like, I talk a lot. And believe it or not, I don't need to talk all the time. I love my quiet time and things, but I am very expressive, and once I start. And here I am, not knowing how to stop. But I will let you go. Have a wonderful day. Peace, love, and compassion, and differentiation. And thank you for joining me. And thank you for joining me on this crazy roller coaster of a ride that's just starting from your point of view. And if you've watched my previous vlogs, for continuing to be on this crazy roller coaster ride with me. And I hope that I hear from you soon. I will let you know in the next podcast, hopefully in the next episode or two, how we can get in touch. But I think as far as YouTube, just jot a comment down in the comment section, etc. And yeah, have a wonderful day. Bye.